Well, welcome to us trying to talk to you about artificial intelligence to humans in the room. I am not a robot, and I'm not an artificial intelligence. But today we want to talk to you primarily about a few things. Was this you talking about this, or is this me?
I can talk about this. This is what we're aiming for today. Richard and I see probably lots of us have a lot of conversations at the moment about AI. In no way are we specialists at it just yet. There's still a lot of conversation on kind of every level, but what we want to do just for today is to gain an understanding of what is AI and consider how it can actually be beneficial for our classrooms. So rather than just go, the sky's falling down, like let's shut it all down, how can it actually be beneficial for us as teachers? How can it be beneficial for our students? And then reflect upon both the ethical and the unethical implications of using AI, both for staff and for students. This is the first. There is another one where we're looking at more the nitty-gritty, particularly of how it relates to assessment in senior. That's for secondary, and that's coming up.
Yeah. So some of you will know that I used to teach information processing technology, which was to do with computers. So I actually taught kids how to make AI. But it was pretty basic AI at the time, so things like decision matrices and responding to things like that. So that's where you can use a computer to simplify tasks and actually help decisions happen. It wasn't so much what we're seeing today. What we're seeing today is something called generative AI. And in this case, generative AI is like a super creative friend who can make up new pictures, stories, and music using examples it has seen before. So in more detailed speak, generative AI is artificial intelligence, so not a human, as in it's a program, algorithms, that creates new content based on a learning set. So a lot of these things are called large language models because they've been trained on a massive set of information. So the most famous one that we have is OpenAI's ChatGPT, which is trained on pretty much the internet up until the 2021. So ChatGPT 3 only had access to the internet up until 2021. And of course, that's causing issues too, but it was let loose. And because you can ask it to do stuff, it then creates new information for you, new content for you. Some other AI tools out there, ChatGPT is the most well-known one that we have, but there are other ones out there as well. There's Curipod, which I'm currently using. Things like Microsoft has a speaker coach in it. Google has generative AI built into it. Grammarly now has generative AI built into it. Canva has Magic Write and Magic Draw and all those wonderful things that generative AI, they can produce things.
And very exciting for us, Toddle has AI.
Well, it's getting released.
It's coming.
Yeah. So there are plenty of AI tools out there. If you haven't started looking into it, probably one of my hopes is that by the end of this, you feel excited enough to go and do some Googling and whatnot and look at the kind of tools that are available. Now, bearing in mind, please do not just let them loose on your students. We do actually need you to go through the typical IT procurement process, which is actually talk to us before you use it with the students, because there's a whole heap of data and privacy things with any extension or app or program that we use, and AI is no different. Cool. So what we're going to do is have a quick activity here. This one's a word grab where you actually get to put in words, and if you haven't yet, we've got the pen on. So how do I turn that off? And if you haven't yet joined, that's meant to join it. Oh, whatever. It will happen. If I press play, that should turn up on your thing if you haven't already. And if you have, if you still need to connect.
It's at the top of the screen. It's at the app.
Oh, it's at the top of the screen? Brilliant. So your screen, you should now have one word or phrase. Just tap in the box. So on your phone, you'll see a whole range of boxes. If you just tap in there as you go, and then down the bottom, press submit, and they'll start turning up. There you go. We're getting some through the cloud. We're going up to 22. Well, we can press stop. At least that's what the how-to says. Now, bearing in mind, this is a new tool for me. I haven't really used it before this presentation. I really hate that sound. Can I turn that down? Oh, I can't yet. I'll have to turn it down. Yep. That's annoying. Funky music, but cool. We're up to 56. So this is what we've got from you guys. We've got research, planning, time saving, teaching, curiosity, a whole bunch of stuff in there. These results will be out, and we'll be sharing this presentation as well. Curiosity, creating rubrics, engage, outlines curriculum, make lessons, creating worksheets, communicating with parents, planning time. Ooh, we've got cheat written in there. That's cool. Just above the little dash between time and saving. Cool.
So there are some things that that AI will be able to help us out with. So to start with, it does gives us tools that we can use to personalise instruction for our students' need. It will be able to give us, once we've got more data coming in and bits and pieces, we'll be able to use that real-time data to be able to assess student performance. As we kind of get better at this, that's a new area for us, but it is something that as data is coming in from our classes kind of live, it will be able to help us to be able to use it and assess student performance. Not marking, we're not going to use it for marking, but just kind of in that live activity type thing. It also will help us to generate personalized learning plans along the way, and we'll see, like, it can help us to create lessons and bits and pieces as well. So that's for within the classroom, but there are other things that it can do just for us personally for other parts of our profession as well. Okay, so how do you feel about using AI in the classroom as a teacher? How are you feeling about it? And when you go into this one, there's just kind of 3 options. If you can choose one of the 3 options of which will indicate how you are feeling about it.
Cool. Here we go.
Yeah.
In the classroom with the kids, or like in preparation for the classroom?
Or both, yeah, in that classroom.
And you
So
basically
that's
have a
both in
minute
your
to get
planning
it
and within the classroom.
Why don't you choose one?
Yeah.
Just one.
Only 3 options.
No, I'm not very good at decisions.
You must have selected one.
Close your eyes, take a stab. We'll get that.
It's not super high stakes.
It's just one between 2.
Awesome. Anybody still? Are we still needing to do it? We've got 27. How many people do we have here? That's cool. Awesome. Happy for me to move on? Here we go. Here's the result. There you go. Cool. So 15 who are excited. Could be a great tool for teachers to use. 12 who are a little bit wary. I'm not sure that this technology is ready for the classroom use. Yep. And 3 indifferent. Not sure what the benefits would be. Hopefully by the end of this, you'll have an idea about some of the benefits, but also a bit more about the dangers and the positives. Yep.
Yeah. It's really good for us to see how people are feeling about it, because it's a new thing, and with any new thing, there's always, people can be a little bit nervous about going into it, and it's always a bit scary that first time when you use something like that in your classroom, or like we are doing now in the PD. So I did say before that one of the things that it's doing is helping us with our lesson plan. So Toddle came up with its own AI, which is specifically about finding lesson, helping to create lesson plans and the learning experiences, and giving so that you can, put in what you're after, and it will give you examples, and then you can say, no, that's not what I want something different, and it will come up and it will keep giving you some options. And so it is a little like having our own personal assistant, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it can give us guidance along there. And so Toddle have put out a video just kind of explaining what it will do and how it's happening. We have signed up for the trial, but it is only going to a certain amount of schools, so we'll just see whether we get that, but it will be coming out in 2024 for everyone.
For everyone. Yeah, cool.
Hello everyone, I'm Dipanshu, an educator and the founder of Toddle. I'm super excited to share with you the work that we at Toddle have been doing in artificial intelligence. For the past few months, we have been working in close collaboration with educators from around the world to bring the power of AI to our partner schools. As we spoke to these educators, we asked them one simple question. What would you ideally want learning to look like? And pretty much everyone had the same vision. Every educator wants a learning environment that is driven by children's natural curiosities, is deeply personalized, experientially rich, and connected to the real world. We all want an education that focuses on competencies and skills rather than on rote memorization. In my view, the progress we have seen in generative AI provides an unprecedented opportunity to make the shared vision of education a reality. At Toddle, we have always been teachers first in our approach. We started building Toddle as a passion project in our school with the belief that in order to facilitate progressive, future-ready education, teachers need the right tools. And we are taking the same teachers first lens to our work with artificial intelligence as well. Today, we are unveiling Toddle AI, and we believe it will revolutionize the way teachers work. Our goal with Toddle AI is to provide each teacher with a personal teaching assistant, an assistant that possesses near magical abilities. Picture Jarvis to your Iron Man. Toddle AI will not only help teachers reclaim their time, but also help them elevate their teaching practice so they can provide each child the learning experience they deserve. And we are integrating Toddle AI deep into our system, enhancing everything from curriculum planning and assessments to progress reports, family communication, and data analytics. We are releasing 3 exciting AI-powered features today: lesson planning, progress reports, and writing assistant. Let's start with lesson planning. Lesson plans are the building blocks of a school's curriculum. Our research shows that teachers invest about 300 hours per year crafting lesson plans. In our conversations with educators about how AI can add value to their lives, it became clear that lesson planning is where we should begin. Lesson planning with Toddle AI is like planning with a co-teacher who has been mentored by everyone from Socrates and Maria Montessori to John Dewey and Sir Ken Robinson. Toddle AI is trained to understand meaningful differentiation. It knows effective classroom management, understands inquiry-based learning, recognizes what student-led action looks like, and the best part is that it can synthesize all of this knowledge to generate hundreds of authentic ideas in mere seconds. Let's see it in action. Picture this. You are planning a grade 3 unit on simple machines, and you want a provocative way to start the unit, something that really gets students hooked. What you can do is just ask Toddle AI and it will give you multiple high-quality ideas. If you don't like the first set of ideas that come up, you can ask for even more ideas. When you find an idea that resonates, Toddle AI will transform it into a detailed learning experience or a lesson plan for you. Now, if you like this learning experience, you can add it to your Toddle workspace and adapt it to your context. The way we have designed Toddle AI is that the control always rests with you, the teacher. You decide what you use. Let's take another example now. Say you are teaching grade 9 a unit on algebra and you need an authentic end of unit assessment task. You can tell Toddle AI your requirement and it will generate the assessment task for you. The more specific you are with your ask, the better the output. If you want, Toddle AI can also create an assessment rubric for the task. What would have taken hours now takes seconds, and the output quality is incredible. But that's not all. Toddle AI can assist in creating classroom activities to foster collaboration, design project-based learning experiences, generate writing prompts, create exit tickets, even suggest thinking routines and graphic organizers. The potential of this technology is boundless. Now, let's look at progress reports. Teachers from around the world have repeatedly told us that generating progress reports takes up a ton of time, especially drafting personalized comments. With Toddle AI, we are putting an end to that struggle. Let's see how it works. Imagine you are creating an end-of-term report for a student named Alex. You click the magic wand button, and Toddle AI will now generate a hyper-personalized comment for Alex after analyzing a bunch of data on the platform. Alex's grades, teacher comments, attendance, diligence in submitting assignments, and more. Alternatively, if you don't want your comments to be auto-generated, you can paint broad strokes with some keywords, and Toddle AI will create a detailed comment for you. And you have full control over the length of comments you want to generate. You can even configure the voice and tone based on your preferences. By default, Toddle AI always uses the growth mindset language. We believe this personalized comments feature alone will save teachers 30 to 40 hours every term. And I would like to highlight one important thing here. We take the privacy of your data very seriously. Even though we are using multiple third-party large language models to power Toddle AI, all interactions between Toddle and these LLMs are fully encrypted and anonymized. No personally identifiable information is ever shared with third parties. This keeps Toddle AI safe and secure for you and your students. Now, let's talk about the third big feature we are releasing today, the Writing Assistant. Available across the Toddle platform, the Writing Assistant is there to support you anytime you need to draft any text. Let's say you want to send an announcement to your parent community. Just give Toddle AI a brief summary and it will do the rest for you. Or let's say you drafted a learning experience and you feel it reads too long. Just ask Toddle AI to shorten it and it's done. Or maybe you are not too sure about something that you wrote. Toddle AI can check for spelling, grammar, and even enhance your writing. Toddle AI is here to help, and the possibilities are truly endless. Over the last couple of weeks, we showed Toddle AI to a few teachers, and they estimated that it will save them 5 to 6 hours every week while helping them enhance their practice. And this is just the beginning. We have only just begun scratching the surface of what's possible with this amazing technology. Over the next few months, we will be launching several other AI-powered features, all designed with the singular goal of helping teachers do better what they do best. To start with, Toddle AI will only be available to Toddle 360 users. Even there, we are opening it up to just 50 schools right now with the intent to incorporate early feedback before we roll it out to everyone. So if you would like early access, please head over to toddleapp.com/AI and fill the waitlist form. Like everything we do at Toddle, our approach to using AI in our products is rooted in collaboration and partnership. We look forward to working hand in hand with you to responsibly unlock the true potential of this incredible technology. Thank you for tuning in. It's going to be an exciting next few months.
Not much of a sell there, is it?
Few months.
There we go. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of ideas about just how Toddle is going to incorporate AI in there, and just to cut to the chase a little bit on it. you always need to check the AI stuff before you do send it out. Yeah, you're the one who knows your kids. That's an algorithm. Yeah. There's a reason that we have humans in a classroom working with humans, because you actually know them and have that relationship with them.
Not quite redundant yet.
I don't think we're ever going to be, and that's coming from a geek. So, although having a Jarvis would be cool. So, this one, I actually couldn't, when I played this one with myself, like on the CuraPod app as I was doing it, testing it out, I actually didn't quite figure out exactly how this activity works. I think we type in answers and then we vote on other people's. I'm not 100% sure. If you wouldn't mind having a go at that, how can teachers effectively use AI in their profession? That would be fantastic. It's starting. I think you get one response. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Just need some people tapping away. Cool. Some still tapping away. 30 seconds to go. That's good. Cool. Oh, there we go. Skip voting. How's that work?
You press the play button.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Okay, so now we get to actually choose from all those. This is why I couldn't do it. We get to choose which ones we think are the most relevant. It's going to do a selection process. Yep, out of 2, and it will keep going through until they're all selected.
Yeah, you get to choose. I think it's still going. Yeah, you got to get through 15 of them. Cool. Now I'm going to do
what I do in my class when people are doing activities and I can't really tell when they're done because I don't have GoGuardian up. If you're done, please put your hands on your head so I know. Thank you. Yeah, because I'm not seeing a lot of hands. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Just a reminder, if you're done, hands on head, so at least I can get a once off. The hands on head. Do you not do that?
I have hands on mouth.
That's a good one. Cool. 20 seconds to go, and it's counting down. I'll let it count out. So if you're not done, is it cool? I'll be interested to see the results of this one. 446 votes. Wow. From a group this size. Okay, let's see what we got. Here comes the data.
So this would be an example of using data in your classroom?
The number one, fast and efficient planning, ideation, creative tools and assessment, grading, time and efficiency. Whoever put that one in, you basically took everything and just, it was brilliant, but yes, well done. Silver is planning for individuals and whole class and reporting on progress. Third is devising lesson plans on concepts that are difficult to understand for relief teachers. Of course, we also get 4 and 5, which is helping address the diverse needs of our students. That got 20 votes. And number 5, creating rubrics and interesting ideas for lesson plans, extending or consolidating lessons for students and needing assistance is 19 votes. The entire list will come out with the presentation for you, but we will move on.
So one of the things that we can use this for is actually our letter writing, so email writing. Often when I'm writing a bit of a tricky email or a detailed email, it has taken me quite a long time. I could lose kind of a good part of a 40-minute lesson and not so much a 70-minute on writing these tricky emails. And when I went to my optometrist, of all things, he was telling me about how he is using AI with his staff and getting them to write lessons. And look, I have the most fabulous optometrist in the world. He was seeing me on a Saturday. I was his only client that day, so we had hours. And he then gave me a full lesson on how to use ChatGPT to write a letter as a teacher. And it's all about being very specific and giving the prompts exactly what you want. Okay, so to be able to go in and say, I want a letter on, to write a letter to parents about uniform, from Freshwater Christian College, refer to the uniform policy with specifics about jewelry and shaving, which, whatever. And boom, it comes up with this really nice letter. However, they are quite kind of perky and fun, and you might say, oh, just tone it down a little bit. And so then you can go tone it down. And you can say, make it 300 words, make it 500 words, make it welcome people to the beginning of the term. There's a whole lot of different kind of ways that you can do this. So then when it came to writing the work experience letter to employees, I thought, well, I'll give this a go. And it was spectacular at how quickly it came up with something that was very professionally well written. We did have to get it to tone it down a little bit because it is, it can be quite over the top, but then you can just kind of tell it to tone it down a little and it will do that for you. So we're going to give this a shot right now, and it should only take you a few minutes. But just with your partner, if you can go into ChatGPT, we did ask if you could register, so hopefully one of each of the partners will have registered. We'd like you to write a 350-word letter to parents about attendance and its impact upon outcomes. Just remember to make your prompts explicit and clear.
So ChatGPT is at chat.openai.com. chat.openai.com. Please do not use any names, particularly student names in it. ChatGPT is public. It's a public data set.
Do you mean more explicit than what you've said? So make up something more
No,
specific.
they can.
You can
Yeah,
start
like
with
you.
that.
But no, you can
You
use
can
that
use
as
that.
that's. Yeah.
I find starting something simple and reading it and editing it and going, actually, I don't like what that is, but if I change this prompt,
Yep.
then I like what that has.
And the fun part about this is it looks like this is how Toddle's going to be incorporating it as well. Very similar.
Was that, I thought, that's the thing, I don't even put police to it.
Google-
might actually
Google
put
likes
a
it when
tone
you-
into
when
it though. Yeah. It might actually, it might actually give it tone.
I get
by
thank
saying
yous
that.
from Google Home. Could you please tell me the time? Thank you. You're welcome.
Actually, that's a very good point. When you're writing something and you're not in a very good mood, it will filter out your mood.
So how do you get it to amend?
So what do you want it to
You
do?
can hit regenerate with
Boiled sauerkraut.
Boiled sauerkraut.
Well, my sauerkraut's got lost fluff right up.
Sorry.
I wanted to see what it would say. Help me to throw it out. This is the first one.
Yeah, that's not unwise.
I see how to do it with good health and spirits. I did do the tone it down for the next one, but words and yeah, I think 350 words is too long.
So 350 is quite long.
What finds you well is
So interestingly, you can also use it to write letters to your students about it in a tone and using words that they might understand. So you could put this through, write a 350-word letter to Year 12 students about attendance and the impact on outcomes, or do the same for a Year 3 student, and it will give you different language.
So they do often say, that people relate kind of on that of a 12-year-old. So in one of the previous slides, with a complicated definition, we did change it to, we reduced the age of the person just so that it gave a more fun definition.
That was the generative AI definition.
The fun friend.
But it makes sense, right?
Sorry, my leg. It's just all done.
It's just all done.
Mine can do it, but I just want to see what a toned down version looks like. Does it look, so this one looks a bit cheesy.
Feel free to include references, but if you do include references, you're going to want to check them. Just a hint. Just a hint.
So you can imagine this will it can cut our letter writing time down by quite a lot. However, there is a risk that errors will go out if you don't check it really closely. You need to remember that the letter still has to come from you, not from ChatGPT. So it is your responsibility to really closely check that the data is correct, that the information that you are given is correct, but that we can utilize the joys of having, somebody write the letter quickly and effectively for us.
Cool. Anybody find that really difficult to write a letter?
Yes, Tina.
I just find it, maybe it's just me, I'm old and all the rest of it. I just find it morally disturbing that something like a personal letter that we're writing to parents or like in our day, that would be cheating. I just spent my whole life telling kids, you need to write this in your own language, and you're getting in trouble for taking hold of someone else's. Or taking, copying somebody else's assignments, and then we're there.
The interesting thing to that, though, is that I am very rarely seeing an original letter coming through my office for me to co-sign. It's generally reworded, reworked of what letters that we've sent year on year on year. So
I was going to say the same thing. Most speeches given by politicians is not written by them. Because I had that original thought as well. By the time it got to publication, 7 other people contributed.
No, and I understand that. Like I always said to kids, even people like books have editors and so on, so it's okay to show something.
Yeah.
And
in our next AI session, we're actually going to be looking at the scale of ethics to a certain extent. So we're going to talk a little bit about ethical and unethical today, but there's also a scale of what are we comfortable with AI doing for us and what are we not comfortable with AI, and where do we sit on that scale, and then examine why, because it has implications on what we do as teachers, but also on what our students do with AI. So that's in the next. This is designed to be an introduction to AI. So that those of you who haven't actually played with it, we're kind of forcing you to play with it. Sorry.
We've had no problem asking getting a report sent out and a child's name in the comment, which is obviously
That still happens.
It still happens.
We try to catch that.
Could I just ask how unique is it? Like, I know we all put a very similar prompt in, but I can even see just looking at people's screens, like how many people got the list of like 4 things regular attendance ensures. Like, it seems like it's basically made the same letter. Like, is it truly unique content?
Just picking on Caleb, he said you make me sound like a politician. You're a politician?
Yeah.
Shakespearean.
I said, make it sound like a politician wrote it. Says, the best Bronco of any
So yeah, when you're putting in the similar prompt, you will get similar results. They won't always. You won't get exact, because every time you run that prompt, it is generating it from scratch. But it's using the same large language model that everybody else is using. So it's going to go through and go, okay, what are the top 4 things that impact outcomes when it comes to attendance? And it's going to pull from that same list time and time again.
To you my Shakespearean letter to a parent saying that their kid hasn't submitted their IA3. With a heavy heart, I do beseech thee. Teach the lament that I penned this missing point of bring news of report regarding that progeny of their scholastic parents.
I think that all English teachers should send their letters in Shakespearean language.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So,
do you want the bell?
just in regards to its uniqueness, there is certainly, you do get the same ones, which is why it is good to probably not be pumping out the same thing all the time. Like, so if you were sending a reminder about homework, you probably don't want to send that same thing every time, or at least ask it to rewrite in a different way, because it would be quite similar. But also, there's an advantage of this, that it comes out with a bit of a similar answer, is that when our students use it, that we can kind of put in the similar prompts that they would do, and it will come up with, hopefully, with what they would get. And that's how we have caught some of our students in drafting time using AI to write their assignments.
Can I say how it's so important to do it with a critical lens? Because I asked it to put a quote in about compassion or something. And I said, who wrote the quote? And it says, I apologise for the confusion, but I made that quote up. If you're looking for a well-known quote,
at least it's polite.
It was really transparent. But it isn't to just like put in something about is the attendance, but be compassionate and give reasons about social connection. And so my response is very different to Dan's. I feel like there's an art form in doing this.
Yeah.
Which is probably more
So
kids how to do it creatively.
there are actually uni units now, specifically around prompt generation, because that is a growing workforce. If you're good at it and you can prove that you're good at it, no, I'm not going to say that. But you're prepared to go to the United States, there's money in it. So
But how do we say the kids, you just said report kids doing it in their drafts?
So it's what, yes, there is a term.
There's a hypocrisy.
There is a hypocrisy. Oh, you're right. There is, like, so when we will look at what is ethical use and what is not ethical use, and that's where we're kind of heading to today, is where we kind of, so what would we put out So, for example, I have researched lesson plans for a long time. Well, actually, since like my very early teaching, and the internet was very early, I used to research, different lessons. So for me to use AI is no real different than using, say, the Teachers Pay Teachers or those type of things. It's the same thing. If I was right, I have a problem with report card writing with this, because I think that is a personal one where we are writing it personally. When I'm writing a stock standard letter, for a work experience thing, I'm saying, fill in these forms, I don't have a problem with that. So, ethically, there will be that line that we have to consider. And as a school, that this is very new for us. Where are our lines? And that's something that we will have to consider over time. Is, for example, I said before, I don't believe it should be marking for us. And it may have those capabilities, but I don't think, as far as any ASIL standard going and knowing our students and knowing how to differentiate them, that using it to mark for us is appropriate. But I do think that there is some of the menial
More
things that we do that don't have that personal connection that it would be good for us to use it for.
Yeah, cool. It's a messy area, but there we go. This is another voting one, I think. Some advantages, disadvantages. If you could dump it in very quickly, we'll then move to the next one and do the voting very quickly as well. What are some advantages and disadvantages of using artificial intelligence?
So lots of what we do.
I used to teach that.
When I was in grade 12, I heard about this thing called the internet, thought it was passing phase, and said I wasn't going to learn how to use it. I think that's what people do.
So there's 23 seconds to go on putting your advantages and disadvantages in. Ten to go. Ticking down. Okay, 28 answers. Let's have a quick vote on it. Awesome.
So, can I throw an idea out there? One of the things that I've heard with the whole AI stuff going around that I thought was really cool is what do we stand to lose by using AI? So, an example of that is when ballpoint pens came out, people were like, but you can't use them, people won't know how to cut their nibs on their quills.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah. So, in that context, what skills are we going to lose by students using AI? What skills are we going to be able to impart in them by using AI? And the ones that they're going to lose, how is that important? It's also like the internet. People don't know how to research in the library anymore because they use Google. So when the internet came around and Google came around, we lost the researching in the library skill. So what are we losing and what's important to us to continue to maintain and teach?
I had a fun conversation with Anna last night discussing, like, how did people pay bills before the internet? How did they do their banking before the internet? All of those things. She had no idea.
How did you call people before mobile phones?
Yeah. How did you book a holiday?
How do you make connections and meet up with people?
Yeah.
With the advance of any technology, there are always some things that disappear. Classic case that I don't think any of us are really ruining the day about was the Gutenberg press. It's formed the basis of pretty much everything we do in school today and allowed for the freedom of thought to go out. Who knows? We might have the same with generative AI. It might just fall apart in a heap because it does get dumber if we keep feeding it dumb stuff. Just saying.
And that's happened pretty quickly already.
Yeah, because it's on the internet. That
like
place
Wikipedia.
is just, a bit like, Wikipedia is actually good now. Anyway, top one, advantage, cuts planning time all the way down. Disadvantage, laziness. Yep. May save time and encourage engagement, but it may also cause students to care less and put less effort in. Advantages, time saving, new ideas, help with editing. Disadvantage, not personal. Again, it will we'll give you the full list of, I think, the 28 responses that we had. It could, number 4 does what could it cost us? Creativity is one of those, potentially. It may actually enhance it. We'll see. I've seen some pretty creative prompts in my time.
So it is exciting and it's fun, but it's not without its ethical considerations that we need to kind of consider, and to be able to think, deeply about this. It's not just about, always doing the quickest, the easiest, but what can we do in an ethical way that helps us, but doesn't make us feel like we've sold our soul. Okay. So there are some potential ethical implications which we've kind of already discussed within this conversation.
Do we want to do this activity?
No, we might skip this over because we've talked lots about the ethical side of it, which you will be able to consider. And so,
what happened to the images?
Can I ask?
There we go.
Organisations like ChatGPT, do they have their own ethical standards where they're acknowledging authorship and?
Yeah, so that's a growing area. There's been a few papers put before governments around the world, particularly the United States, where the majority of these companies are actually residing. OpenAI is the company. They also run DALL-E. They've got a position paper on that, and they've responded to different comments about things. They actually created their own AI detector, specifically designed to try and catch the cheating using ChatGPT. They say it works in maybe 40% of the time with maybe a 70% effectiveness. So because it's generative, it's hard to guess that. But yeah, no, definitely there is that. There's the idea of trying to slow things down by bringing in some legislation on what can and can't be used. And obviously, something that is slowing it down in the United States now is copyright law, funnily enough. Artists, authors, people who've written papers, they're pretty upset that they've just had all their data and things just fed into this machine. And so you are actually getting turns of phrase and the use of particular artwork. You can see the impact of that on the art pieces when it comes out. So that is slowing things down. So companies like OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, they're all going, we need to nut this one out and figure out how we can, using a data set that's been at large. They're arguing public domain because it was out on the internet, but that's actually not public domain, it's copyright information. So anyway, licensing, all those kind of things.
So this one is there's lots of things that's coming out from lots of education areas at the moment. A lot of universities in particular are researching this. And Miriam Scott came up with this diagram of what is ethical and what is not ethical. And we may not necessarily agree with it, but this is kind of the starting point of which people are considering. So they are saying that concept explanation. So if you don't understand something and you put it into ChatGPT that, to explain this, that is obviously an ethical use of that. And so, and there is some really, there are some times where there might be a word that's being used or there's a concept within your subject that you're not really sure of, so that you've now got something that can explain it to you. So that's really good. Okay, resource creation. It can create flashcards, so things which would be great particularly for lower primary. Flashcards, revision activities. You can also do analytical tools that would obviously more be further up. This is a great way. We've always searched for, bought, and used tools from other people, but now we can get them quite easily through AI. Idea generation, okay, it can simulate creative thinking and ideas as a starting point. Even for our students, we all know sometimes that they just really have trouble thinking of that initial thought. So that sometimes for them to be able to sit and to be able to, look up some ideas, not that you want them to copy them, but you want it to help them to brainstorm. So we could use it for that. Yeah.
I was going to say, just the aspect of being a Christian school, that it would say that it's sort of value bias or whatever, but it still does have a value base in some way. And they've sort of seen a few things such as I'll write a joke about Christians, and then it'll write a joke about Christians. I'll write a joke about Muslims. Oh no, we don't. That we want to keep our jokes free from offence and that kind of thing. So we'll write a joke about Christians, that type of thing. So
I haven't tried that.
There is definitely some elements there where if our culture is going a certain way, then ChatGPT or AI is going to basically go with the status quo. Then we have to be aware of that value base.
And I think actually by responding to it, then that puts it into the algorithm. Hey, if we say no, that is offensive to it, then that will.
It does flag it, particularly with ChatGPT.
It will flag it.
They've been fairly responsive to people being upset about things.
Mm.
But yeah,
okay.
It does take the mainstream value system.
Yeah. So feedback and evaluation for things like we are establishing marking, to be able to give feedback on different things within class to help to improve before submission. So we're not talking about marking, but even getting it to check spelling bits and pieces, that could be good. Brainstorming, create ideas or topics. Much like what we were talking about, the idea generation. Revision, it can create activities to help us understand and recall, or for our students.
Can I jump in on that one?
Yeah.
That's really good for external exam preparation too, by the way, because our kids are used to us writing questions and the way that we phrase questions. They need to get used to somebody else writing those. And if you don't have a partner who can share different questions with you, or something like Neep or whatever the other ones are, then having something that can produce those for you is actually really useful. But check it. Always check it.
I was going to say, I got it to write a worksheet for me on a topic, and it was pretty decent, some areas, but it gives full answers for the worksheet that it creates, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Didn't even ask it to, it just did it automatically. So
that's really good.
And if it doesn't.
Did everyone hear that?
Yeah.
So it came up with a worksheet and it gave all the answers as well. So,
for the teacher.
Presentation skills. Okay, provide suggestions on to improve presentation skills. And now might be a good time to say that we actually used AI to put this presentation together. And clearly we've personalised it for what we have today, but the basis actually came from AI.
Let's say, for example, Microsoft PowerPoint, the AI that was listed in the first tool that actually you can do your presentation, and it will come back and tell you, yeah, that was too informal. You need to watch your stance, tone here. You're rushing. Those kind of things.
Also, citation and formatting. Obviously, there's lots of different ways that you can use now for citation and formatting. When we're looking at lost skills, that is potentially a lost skill, is, you know, their referencing list. Locating sources, it can help us using it, so similar to Wikipedia or Google. But there is obviously the unethical side. So plagiarism, if we were to pick something up completely and then claim it as our own, yeah, much like we just said, you know, this is not all our own work. We have used a presentation from Curipod. Yes, to say this is where we're having it at the moment, that some students want to pick it up and claim it as their own and not just as the tool that helped them along the way. Assignment outsourcing, if they're getting it to, you know, to pay, you know, using the paid ones to be able to create theirs. We all know that, however, that this has been a problem long before, you know, even Google was around, that it's been a problem with, you know, parents doing things or tutors doing it. That this is adding another complication right now, but it is the same idea. Misrepresenting the abilities. Okay, so using AI to complete tasks that's beyond your own understanding and presenting the results as your own. Well, I may have done that a little bit because I couldn't have created all those little quiz things, but yes, so, you know, you need to make sure that whatever you're representing as what you can do is what you can do.
So
yeah.
I thought in the ethical use you had that kids could use it to edit. I feel like editing, especially for English and things, would come under them.
How is it different to Grammarly though?
And Grammarly is actually using AI, as is Google Docs, as is Word.
Well, they're not using Grammarly well, a lot of them.
Yeah, no, I can tell
you
that.
know, yeah, I don't know. Like that for me is a grey. You know, it sits in both. Where the kids, like, I guess if they use it to edit a science report, that's very different from using it to.
I think that's why it is really important that we still have stuff that's done under exams or, you know, under ways where it's handwritten, so the editing skills are not lost.
But the key part there as well is that we actually have to teach how to edit, because pre-AI and pre-Grammarly, I don't know if you did, but I used to get other people to read over my work and edit it for me and tell me how I could improve as a student all the time. And then I would do it because they were smarter than me.
But I was actually really frustrated with my grade 12s when I taught them briefly that in English that they hadn't run it through a spell checker first. So, like, well, why was I seeing something with mistakes when there is clearly, you know, Google Docs has its own spell check, grammar check. And
we're not teaching necessarily, like, there are some skills that may go away, but we've already got copy editors. And I mean, if you read any newspaper, we have mistakes coming through anyway, and they're edited by humans. But we're also teaching our kids for the world that they're going to be in, and they have to know how to actually work with this stuff, because it's unless it's a passing fad, which I somehow disagree. I somehow don't see that happening based on how much money's being thrown at it. I think an important part for us is teaching them how to use it ethically and responsibly, and we can do that by modelling it ourselves and being open and transparent about it. So we're always planning on telling you that we were using Curipod for this.
It all comes back to standard one. Know our students. If you know your students. So I saw Nate with an English assignment earlier this year, and he was using Grammarly, and he'd been using the words, and I'm like, this is a really good assignment, Nate. Hey, do you know what this word means? And he's gone, no. I'm like, okay, it means this. What words would you use to describe this? Because that word is too complicated for what you know. And so I got him to change it back to what he actually would have described it as, because I knew that.
And we've all had, even when it was a thesaurus, we've had kids that have done that and then they don't quite use it correctly.
So it comes back to know students.
Would you recommend a 10-hour course that Curipod offers?
Sorry?
Would you recommend a 10-hour course that Curipod offers?
I haven't done it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's on their thing. They say free sign-up course to use Curipod well. So.
That would have been, I just jumped in. I didn't know. Maybe.
10 hours is a long long time.
Take one for the team.
Yes, Leslie.
I just want to know, are we going to think about?
Can we just listen up to Leslie?
I was wondering, are we going to think about what this means for our assessments and our styles of assessment? Obviously, we can't change year 11 and 12, but is it going to affect the way we assess?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and that's one that we're working through. Is how does this affect the way we assess? And so, as part of preparing for this, I have read through quite a few kind of forums about what different schools have done. And there's a school in Victoria that has changed just about everything to exams. Unfortunately, exams aren't real life. Like, so if we're looking at authentic pieces, always doing things under exam conditions, that's not real life. So that's a problem. The other side is we need to prepare our kids for grade 11 and 12, and they have to write assignments. So what we need to do is we have to teach the students how they can use this ethically to help them, how they can use it to brainstorm, they can see samples, but they're not actually using it to write with it. And that's where having those Google Docs, being able to see what they're doing, really checking out, making sure that there's not like a big dump. That if they've used ChatGPT or another one of the AIs, that they are sourcing that. It's much like when Google came in and suddenly they could, cut and paste, and, we saw whole assignments that came from Google that we had to be able to monitor, change, train them not to be able to do that. It's that same process. We're still going to have to train them. It may change some. It's certainly changing the way that our monitoring of how students, that we have them in a Google Doc, that we can watch them the whole way through, that we can look at version history. That has all become very important. So there are processes that have changed, and it may influence some of what we do as well. Yeah. The improper referencing. So originally, one of the good things about when you were checking for the use of this is that ChatGPT 3 was it didn't use references, so you could kind of pick it pretty quickly. But 4, if they paid for 4 does use references. But so adding to source references and not checking your validity for information and relevance. So if they're just kind of pumping it out from ChatGPT, not going to the actual source, that is considered an unethical use of it. So again, that is one thing. Okay, so a student might do some initial research, brainstorming using it, and then they've seen a quote. If they've got a quote from that, they need to go back and actually see it in context, not just drop it into their assignment.
And this is where one of the fun bits happen with generative AI, is because it actually generates sources as well. So if you ask it to quote the leading author on psychoanalytics of something, it will find the leading author, the one who's got the most hits on Amazon, and it will then find the most highest rated text, not necessarily by the same person. Combine the two, make up a name. It's called hallucination, what they call source hallucination. It actually generates them. They may actually be it may be a legitimate title and a legitimate author, but the two don't go together. The quote may actually exist, but not be in whatever it's referencing. So that also then comes back to us as well in checking those sources. Just because a kid has a bibliography or a list of references doesn't mean that they've actually used them. So check, please.
I don't know how that could be stated as an ethical.
Oh, that's not an unethical one.
But the online platforms to be taking people's work and putting it against someone else's name.
Yep,
oh, yeah.
And that's
how
one of the things that they're
how
dealing
are they
with.
putting that out there as ethical?
Or
as
when you ask for a
generated
quote,
content,
that it just creates its own.
Yeah.
Like, there is a problem with that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
So it is not without its complications. This is a big issue. It's a whole new area for us. Lots for us to think about. And there's some things that are really good for us, and some things that are going to be very challenging.
And we're going to go a little bit more down that rabbit hole in the next AI one, where we actually look at how is AI actually going to be impacting, and how can we work with AI and our students in terms of assessment and all those kind of things. So the kind of learning tasks that we do and the kind of assessment tasks, and where do we all fit on that scale, coming up with our own concept for freshwater of what we're okay with and what we're not okay with. Cool.
Yes. At the moment, the primary teachers aren't I'm doing something separate with them. But where would you prefer to be? In AI, or we've got to do some. We're doing some work on assessment writing. Do we have a preference? Can we just have who would like to be in the next AI one? Secondary will all there because it's big for secondary. Assessment writing.
Sorry, are the options?
For primary teachers.
Just for primary teachers,
primary
assessment writing or AI for the next. It's
Computer can do the assessment writing.
actually it's a course, which you have to do.
How long does it go for and how many hours?
Yeah.
The course it is run over. It's going to be like we'll be doing it between now and the end of the semester. It's a QCAA.
The assessment.
It's a
the assessment
QCAA course on assessment writing. So are you keen to get it? Do you feel like you've got enough AI? Yep. Yeah. Good. Let's keep going with that.
Kind of. Yes. The QC, which AI or the assessment?
Yes.
It's written by it.
Yeah, they're two. Like, do you feel like you need more AI for teaching prep, or are you okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Because all these, most of these questions are very kind of secondary based now, ethical ones.
I reckon a practical how to. So like how you guys did that construction using it.
There's too many different ways.
So,
but we're going to be looking at.
But at least maybe a few models to show.
Well, that 15 places to go that I had at the start, different AIs. That's a good starting point. Yeah. Yep, just to try and get us back into our own creative mode and our own creative area, because we've been talking very much about AI, which some of the responses I've seen is all about sucking creativity away, and I kind of figured that. Kirapod suggested this as an activity. It's a brain break to try and get your brain just to calm down a little bit. So in 5 minutes, draw an elephant with butterfly wings and tiny dancing shoes. It may not take 5 minutes. But it's designed to give your brain something else to do. Oh no, you do it on the screen. And if you're in primary, however, with a MacBook, you may need to use your phone because you don't have touch screens. Sorry.
Yes. Yep. On your screen, just draw it.
So it should come up with a little drawing thingy, which you might not be able to do on you'll have to use your mouse with trackpad. Oh, this is terrible. No, it's a brain break. It's really up to you to create it. It's all about you being creative. Oh my goodness. It's great. Like a
Oh, that's pretty good. Very good.
By doing it all in one. You can add colours and things if you're feeling very, very, very creative. I'm just kind of. I'm hoping it doesn't actually attach my name to it. However, this is where we find out who our budding artists are. We get to put up a gallery of elephants with butterfly wings or like tiny dancing shoes. That's what we want. Oops. Now people won't know. But there was another one.
Dancing one. There's a whole musical.
That do movie with oh yeah, I'm wrong. Yeah, this is just designed to Who's cheating? I think it will. Are we happy with that? We want to see them. No, Jackie's still going. Press submit. There's no pass fail on this, not until I get it to grade it for me. After I get it to create me a rubric. Okay, here we go. Oh, we get to vote. Oh, this is cool. We get to vote on a drawing. I love this. Oh, Nat. Oh, wow. I like that one. No wings. Oh, crikey.
Hey, cheated. I didn't submit mine.
Look at that. Oh, you didn't press submit, but it took it anyway. Well, that's good to know. Thank you for testing that feature for me.
I think we put similar ones together.
Cool.
Someone actually got a photo.
So they put similar ones together.
Oh.
Yeah.
AI did that. Wow, that's impressive. You didn't do the AI one? Yeah, somebody did an AI one. Have we finished voting? Yeah, finished voting. Let's have a look. Who wins? Anybody want to own up to the winning?
Oh, that's mine. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not my screen, but it said I got something.
Seriously? So you voted for mine?
Yeah.
Who's gold? Who's in the middle?
Go ahead.
We should have brought things to. That's cool.
So who's was the second? Oh, no.
That's got to be Emily.
That's almost. Is that Sarah's?
I was just going to say there, it looks like it's mine had a big knife.
I was recording this. Am I going to have to edit it out?
Okay.
So here we go. There is one more. So I put it through Microsoft's image creator, just as that exact same thing as a prompt, and that's what it came up with. So those three. It also had another one where it was missing a leg and the wings were kind of attached to the front of its trunk. So anyway, so just interesting. So in terms of AI use, we used ChatGPT to put the definition for generative AI into a phrase that 12-year-olds would understand. Curipod to get us our base set of slides, which we then went back and edited and reformatted and added our own to make it actually meet what we needed. But it saved us, a couple of hours worth of work. This one is Microsoft Image Creator. You get 100 points if you're actually using Edge coins, so you can actually start creating them. There's a whole heap of really fun things you can do with it. They also have something called Microsoft Designer, which created the very first image, the yellow robot and screen. I said, I want a title slide for a slideshow on Introduction to AI for Teachers, use a robot, and that's what it came up with. It also came up with a nice little black and white one. Again, I could have spent hours trawling through Google because that's what I do when I'm looking for images. I trawl until I find the perfect one, and I never find the perfect one, so I always feel that deep sense of dissatisfaction with myself.
It's hard being a perfectionist.
I wouldn't call myself. Yeah, anyway. So AI can make things work a little bit better, and I just love the fact that we could use activities in this and get data straight away. So hopefully you can see there are some benefits to AI, there are disadvantages to AI. We're going to look at one of the main ones next week as well when we start talking about plagiarism and cheating.
Actually, probably won't be next week because
No, not next week. Sorry,
there will be a little bit of a change to the agenda. I did say when I first put it out that it would need to change. Richard and I will be away Monday and Tuesday, so I will let you know exactly what that change will be and send you an email in the next couple of days as to what next Tuesday will hold.